Hey there, I didn't see you as I was petting little Lily here. You know, right before we began the podcast, I was mesmerized by the fact that I've always wanted a kitten for so many years of my life. And not just any kitten, but a white and orange striped looking kitten. And here in my hands is exactly that. And I know that's quite obvious by your ability to see, but to see that before it manifested and then manifested is so profound that it makes me question the nature of metaphysics and reality. Like, what kind of existence are we in that is possible, and what else could be possible if we hold something so constant in our mind? What if you have such a specific thing, like you want your future wife or children or future in-laws to have a specific trait, and you get exactly that. I know that was a bizarre example, but something so random. What if you could make your reality to that degree, essentially create an existence of design? And that's actually discussed in one of the episodes over this course of the week, which covers from day 57 to day 63, and that's actually the one about life book, about designing your life. But what I wanted to say about designing our reality is, over the course of this T-365 project and the constant reminder of each day is counting down and not to waste each day, thus our quote and our mantra here at T-, don't waste today, is so vividly now etched into my mind of how precious each day is. And actually, during the midst of this pandemic that is going on, it's even more vivid than ever before, that people are realizing that how fragile humanity is, as fragile as an individual is. Of course, we might all be aware that we could leave the house today and get hit by a truck, and that could be the end of our existence. We take that sense of individualism, and that we can individually be affected day by day, but a pandemic shows how fragile the entire world is. The existence of all conscious beings on this planet, which is actually all conscious beings that's known in this universe and known in this galaxy and multiverse. So life is a lot more fragile than people ever realize. In fact, one of my friends here that has grown out of the T-365 series, Sharfi, who actually does a lot of the back-end editing, including shooting this podcast, mentioned to me yesterday, I'll see you tomorrow. And to that, I unnecessarily made that into a big philosophical point of, you never know when you're seeing someone for the last time. And I think I drove that point home by terrifying him, and he said at the end that I might see you tomorrow, and I said, exactly, you might see me tomorrow if both of us get up. So taking life a lot more consciously, which I'm grateful for, and that is the least we can do. You know, they say that you don't appreciate something until you lose it, and as much as we try, I do think we can never appreciate life enough. Not just the good times, but the bad times, the horrific things that we go through, and the burdens that we carry, the darkness that rests within all of us, and the untroubled or the troubled restlessness that we carry, that has actually spawned this series for me. And I'm beginning to see the manifestation of all of that type of thinking and the results that it's creating in my life, because putting in the effort day in, day out, it is affecting my psychology and thus my behavior, and those behaviors are leading to physical manifestations that I can tangibly see and feel or display, for example, such as playing the guitar. Just when I began that endeavor, it was painstaking to press down metal wires, as well as my fingers were getting in the way of holding other of the strings, and it just became really cumbersome to try to play. And day by day I just was like, okay, is this going anywhere? Like, am I actually learning? I feel like it's just I have an instructor and it's not really that progressive. And then one day, out of the blue, I was able to play better than I've ever played, and I was shocked. And that initial bit of results, I leaned on that, saying that, hey, I put in effort. I got something so much greater than I was able to do in the beginning, and that confidence of maybe I could do this has translated to being able to play without needing to look at my fingers. And just recently I've gotten pretty decent at the Happy Birthday tune, which for the first time I actually played that today for a one of our T-minus 365 project members, Manju, who is celebrating her birthday today. So I actually played that for her. So she found that delightful, and I told her that I'd get tremendously better by the next time I play for her. And then we have dancing, where of all the things that I do, dancing is the most stressful. It's the one that I'm always like feeling like I'm inept, feeling that I'm constantly challenged by it. I'm constantly distressed by it. I'm like, oh no, it's like here, time to embarrass myself again. And I do think that there is some progress, but it hasn't manifested into the ebbs and flows that I would like, and for that I will definitely continue. But one area that I am seeing results in that I'm so happy about is the gym. And that is an area that I've struggled with for far too long. I'm talking about, like, I'm supposed to have had abs, which I actually talk about in day 58 someday, that I was supposed to someday have abs. 10 years ago, actually over 10 years ago, I thought in my 15-16 year age mind that by the time I was 18 I would have six-pack abs. Then when it didn't happen at 18, I was like, okay. I had to study for school. I had to get into the college that would best prepare me for the rest of my careers, and there was a lot going on. I was not in an environment where I could best do that. Thus, I will definitely reach that by the time I'm 25. I will have six-pack abs. 25 came and went, 26 came and went, 27 came and went, 28 came and went, 29 is where I am. And that is where I'm deciding to draw that line. Of course, drawing a line and doing the actions are two completely different things. But I've been consistent for about 3.5 weeks now. And what's interesting about that consistency is it's not that I'm going to the gym by myself and thinking that I'm working out. It's that I have two trainers. If one's not there, the other one's there, or if one's busy, the other one's there. Like that are pushing me to a level that I could not push for myself. And you'll see in some of the episodes where I pick up a certain amount of weight to do, for example, dips, weighted dips. And for example, I picked up a 7.5 kilogram plate, and that was supposed to go on my thighs as I do these dips. And Money, my main trainer, who I asked him to put that on there once I got into position, instead of putting that, he put not 7.5 kilograms, but 10 kilograms. It doesn't sound like that big of a difference, just 2.5 kilograms. Here's the crazy part. He put 3 plates of 10 kilograms. So we went from what I thought he was going to put 7.5 kilograms, because that's the plate that I wanted him to put on there. Instead, he put 3 10 kilograms, 30 kilograms. And I was in initial shock, I was in doubt, but surprisingly I did the entire set of reps, and then the next one, because the first one was just the 7.5, actually I think the first one was 5 kilograms. Second one I wanted 7.5, you put 3 10s, and the third one, the third set, it was 3 of the 10 kilograms and the 7.5, and I did more reps. I think I did 37 reps with that one. But anyway, it's insane what I'm capable of if I continue to push myself, or if I have people that can see my potential, or not be the voice in my head or the limiting counting in my head, and go forward. And that is a really mesmerizing aspect of myself, as well as any individual, how far we can go when we're not barricaded by our limiting beliefs. And I'm getting to see that at the gym the most. One of the signs that I know that I'm progressing at the gym is because I'm now able to do something I've never been able to do. No, that's not a front flip. No, that's not a back flip, which I would be so astonished if I got to the point where I could do a back flip. But what that is, and I don't know how I discovered this, is I'm able to move my pecs without, like I'm able to do that. I don't know if you can see it. You can probably gotta zoom in, but yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. Trust me, I was in front of the mirror, like, I was freaking out, because I was like, wow, what am I gonna do with this new power? It definitely entertained myself a lot, but the reason I was excited about this is because it's the first degree of results. I have never been able to do this in my life, and seeing that, it gives me so much hope for the future, that I can get to a bit better, and ultimately get the physique that I want. And I would, as I told Akash, as I told Money, as I told other people at the gym, that just as a poor man fantasizes about having money, a person that doesn't have six-pack abs, or by that I mean the rest of the physique, not just six-pack abs and like the body that doesn't match that, but the full physique of a six-pack abs sort of physique, that I, in that same poor man fantasizing about the wealth, so cherish the physique that I'm going after, that when I achieve it, I will be so grateful and appreciative for that I will not be tempted, which I'm already not tempted by sweets and other junk food, because I really look at my body as like an engine that, although I don't eat enough, and I'm sure I could probably drink more water, I know I can, I'm more sleep deprived, but I'm up to, for example, right now, 10 boiled eggs a day. 10, which is like sounded insane to me just like a week or two ago. These are just the egg whites, not the egg yolks. I actually have no egg yolks. So it is progressing in the positive trajectory. Now, to dive into these past 7 episodes, starting with day 57, Father. That is one of my most heartfelt scripts that I've written, because I've always wanted to write my father a letter, and still to this day I have not, and it's a big risk that I'm taking, and the reason that I have not is because I don't feel like I've gotten to the point where he can be proud, which I have certain ideas about what that would be, but nevertheless I'm hesitant of writing this letter. I feel like I should be in a better place in life before I write him the full details of my mistakes and journey and disputes and arguments that we've clashed over. But more than I want to tell my father my journey and write that, not talk to him, because that's very difficult as we start off calmly in a logical, sensible manner, and erupt in a volcanic eruption of disputes and arguments and pointing out each other's flaws. And so I just wanted to write to him, and I really have to take the time and just muster up the courage to just go and do it, as I'm preventing myself from doing it. But this voiceover was in remembrance of my father, and what he has done that I do not think I can fully ever grasp, but I'm beginning to understand, I'm beginning to appreciate as I am beginning my own life now, as I'm remembering a lot of the little things, and how he used to have one job and come home at 3 and have like 30 to 45 minutes at home where he would shower, eat, lay down for like 10-15 minutes. My mom would massage his legs as they would be very much tired from his journey, and then he'd be back to his second job until like 10-11 p.m. and that's how he lived for so many years. I'm talking about like 22 to 24 years of his life. So I'm truly honored by what he has sacrificed as a family man, and I'm in awe of that, because he makes what I do look like child's play, which it's actually that. I remember one time I was thinking that someday I would want to know what my father went through by standing up 16 hours a day, because he worked 8-hour shifts on his foot, 2 8-hour shifts a day on his feet, and that is not easy. And also being a foreigner here, or in foreign lands where he's greatly misunderstood, greatly unappreciated, greatly abused, as one would be at a gas station, as a gas station clerk, with many people wanting things really fast and saying absurd things like go back to where you came from and that sort of stuff. So my father took that well, with great deflection, like he would say, "You want to come with me?" or something, like he's quite the character that I'm really getting to appreciate now, with great physical and time away from him, just how amazing he has been and he continues to be. Day 58 is someday. I remember all the some days in my life. Some days I'm gonna have a six-pack abs. Someday I will have this or that, or the love of my life. Someday I will travel to this place. Someday I will get my life together. And all those some days have never arrived, and they never will. It is such a mirage, such a trap that I have fallen victim to or fallen prey to. And something that still is present in my life, and I need to completely eradicate and be able to see through that and know that all I have is today. All I have is today, and with that, I need to act. With that, I need to control not the foggy future of the unknown, but rather the hardship of right now, because we all have a better thinking or better perception about ourselves in the future. In the future, I will eat healthier. In the future, I will work out. In the future, I will be disciplined. In the future, I will do all the things that I'm not doing right now. And the thing is, if you cannot do them right now, you cannot do them in the future, as we are creatures of habits. So very conscious of the someday trap that I am overcoming in my own journey to manifesting the greatest version of myself, the apotheosis of myself over the course of the 365 days. Day 59, which was immortal, is a very intriguing one, and one that I actually remember quite clearly. I have suffered immensely, and I'm still very much coping with my inability to stop thinking about my mortality, meaning that the fact that I will die someday. It is such a blessing and a curse to be conscious of this, because I guess to not be conscious of this and to think that you have a lot longer of a time than you actually do is tragic. And so is being aware of the fact that everything that I will ever do will be for naught, and everyone that I ever love or create a friendship with or hold dear will fade into dust, as I will as well. And that is very difficult to cope with, and I'm grateful for the mind that I have, which suffers greatly. It's not a mind of tranquility in which, I have come to peace with that. But speaking of peace, one philosopher that has helped me greatly come to some level of peace with that, it has been the great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, whose book Meditations has really given me deep insights, or different way of looking at my life and death. I remember listening to his book Meditations while I was working overnight as a clerk at a store called Walgreens back in the US. And I remember there was a part where, and this is like deep into the night, 2, 3, 4 a.m. when the store is mostly empty, and I'm just going through the aisles, and I have one ear pod in, at the time it was headphones, and I'm listening to Marcus Aurelius, and well, not his voice, but his philosophy, and he said something, or his teaching said something that made me stop and made me come to such a wondrous connection with all that is and what would happen to my life. He said that death is a process of nature, and no process of nature is evil. And of all the things that I've studied and all the things that I've looked into about death, which I, even to this day, I study that subject like an obsession, that sentence really resonated with me. Not that I could prevent it in any way, not that it was comforting in the sense that you will once again be resurrected, but rather that a leaf dying is not evil. It is just a process of nature, and that nature itself does not care to be good or bad. It is just a process. And so that helped me to understand that there would not be tremendous amount of torture post-death, which in many religious contexts there is tremendous amount of death, suffering and pain that happens not just during death but after death. So Marcus Aurelius has helped me to do that immensely. But also in Immortality, I talk about how it might be possible to reach a level of immortality, and this happened during a night that I remember I was struggling to fall asleep. I remember this very, very vividly, and I was wrestling with myself, my thoughts about the fact that my life would end, and what does this all mean, and why anything. And I had this sudden epiphany that the extension or the lifespan of humans are increasing year by year with the advent of greater medical advances and technologies. And I realized that at some point it was 40 years was a lifespan, now it's 80, that if I can just keep myself healthy, if I can keep myself and my brain active, that by the time I get to the end of what would be the lifespan of humans, there would be technologies that bridge my lifespan to the next advent, meaning that the technologies that evolve by that time would actually allow me to live even longer, and that would create further advancements until there could be a reality in which biological aging could be paused or even reversed through stem cells or nanotechnologies, and then even further, like transcendence of uploading a mind into a cybernetic body. All these things came across my mind, and I remember, like a hallucination, I was typing all this in the middle of the night to my brother, the one person that would not consider me insane for these thoughts, because he understands my deep philosophical interest in life and death and the metaphysics of reality. And I was telling him that this could be, how I could find peace is through immortality. But ultimately, I realized that even our sun would die, and even if you escape this universe, or escape this solar system, that the solar system or the universe would reach a balance in entropy, and all energy would fade, all the lights would dim, and so anyway, that gave me comfort at that time. Day 60 talks about society, and society being the greatest invention of humanity, and the fact that it is just an invention. One does not have to accept its utilization, meaning that we don't have to confine to it. It is actually one of the coolest ones that I've written, because it's like a fish talking about water. It's like so trippy that we're just born into a society not realizing that society is an artifact, society is an option, society is a membership that you can choose to participate in, or you can just be an individual. And so I'm really entranced by that concept. Day 61, marriage. I remember that day very clearly of that guy. His name was Fabian. He said that he didn't want to get married, and that stuck with me. I was like, that's a strange way of thinking. I don't get that. And that's why it just seared into my mind. And as I grew up and looked further into the rate of relationship success, not through stats, just through my friends, through my network, as well as the legal limitations, the legal confinement of marriage, and I was like, I don't like the legal stuff. The fact that the state now is involved in your relationship, I'm like, whoa, why are you involved in my love? Like, get out of my bedroom, but more than anything, marriage to me is not the signing of any documents. It's not the states or the laws being involved. It's not a ceremony. It's not cakes. It's not a ring. It's not white dresses or whatever grooms wear, suits, which is really boring. They should have more options. Anyway, it is commitment, and I have given my commitment to the people that I have been in relationships with, and that hopefully they value more than a ring that is inanimate and not the representation of or not me, the person. So yeah, I've completely found a very beautiful way to look at marriage as commitment, not as all the other unnecessary stuff. Which doesn't mean to say I won't get married, just that to me does not mean that we are official or we are together for life. If I'm in a relationship and I call her my life partner, that is to me deeper than the public display through marriage. 62 is life book, designing your own life as one would design the tallest building. I talk about my brother and being an engineer and having more of his life together because of his engineering mind. Day 63, mother, my silent hero, and why I'm so dear to her is because I've been her shoulder to cry on. I've been the son that's always been by her side, and I don't mean like emotionally and by her side. I mean like all my brothers are of course emotionally supportive of her, but I'm actually there crying with her through her pain, shedding tears together as she has so silently suffered for all my life, 29 years of being barricaded and like a bird trapped into in a house, just doing everything she could for us, giving her life for us. And I'm extremely grateful for her. I miss her so much just talking about her. And one thing I can say is that the sound of her laughter is the greatest melody that I have ever heard, and I hope to hear more of that, as much of that as possible. And with that, that covers all of the days of this week, covering from day 57 from father to 63 mother, and hopefully you're getting insights into my thinking, my philosophy, my psychology, and my torment of what I'm trying to express about the brevity of life, about the beauty of life. A question that I want to leave you with is, what is something that you've been telling yourself that you will do someday, and that someday has yet to arrive, even though it's been year after year after year after year? I know there's many of those things, and I know that for most people, the vision of themselves that they carry will sadly never manifest. And I want to give it my most valiant attempt to doing that, and be able to, at the end of my life, say that I have lived life on my own terms. I have lived life consciously, and I have lived life with courage, and not going silently into the night of the foreverness of death. With that, I will catch you on day 64 of the T-365 day series.